Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the live stream. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Fairclough, your relationship and emotional intelligence specialist. And so today we're going to get back to talking about how to eliminate resentment. I know I did the live stream some weeks ago. It must have been like 2-3 weeks ago at this point in time. It was a Friday night where we went over a general overview of how to eliminate resentment. And I told you I was going to come back and do it like piece by piece and break it down for you. And so now I'm coming back and doing it piece by piece and breaking it down for you so you guys could go over the different elements. Now, it is critical. I do want to point this out. None of these are designed to be taken by themselves. In order to eliminate resentment, you must put all of them together. So I'm going to make sure I'm doing my part to make sure I get this information out to you as soon as possible so that you guys have the full, the whole picture and all the skills and everything you need to start eliminating resentment in your life. Because we know that if you are having resentment in your life, it can be very difficult to repair relationships, difficult to re-engage with your loved ones, difficult to really have that connection that you're looking for. So I really want to eliminate resentment. I really want us to understand it, eliminate it so we can be free to actually just be our full authentic self, connect with people, set our boundaries, operate in excellence so we can do all of those things. So first and foremost, so this one, I just want to make sure that you guys know this one's going to be kind of combined, right? And I don't have it in the description and things like that, but there is a part before we don't take it personal that I'm going to talk about in a second. There is a part that needs to be done first and foremost. And this is all honestly, this part right here is going to be important, not just for how to eliminate resentment, but this part's also going to be important for how you engage in any situation, not conversation, any situation in your life, right? And of course, I'm not here to keep any secrets or anything along those lines. What I'm first talking about, the first step in this whole process of eliminating resentment is emotional regulation. That is the number one thing we have to get in our system, in our mind, in our repertoire. And the reason why this is, we talk about the different skills, we talk about communication, we talk about all these different things, and we're going to be talking about eliminating resentment. But I'm telling you right now, if you cannot regulate your body, if you cannot regulate your emotions and regulate yourself, right, really regulate your body before you engage in any situation, it will take absolutely nothing to pull you off in all the skills, all the books you read, all that stuff gets thrown right out the window. Because now what happens is when your body gets escalated and you don't have control over it, what ends up happening is your body now starts moving to fight or flight. Your amygdala, threat detection, all that stuff kicks off and all stuff goes out the window. Your prefrontal cortex, all that stuff, it all goes out the window. Logic goes out the window. All skills go out the window. So it is critical for us to make sure we know how to regulate our bodies. So with that being said, you should have some type of practice that you do on a regular basis to help do that. But before I even get into that, I want to just kind of give you a quick example. I used to play football, and when I used to play football, and anyone who's played sports, especially with like contact sports, when you're in, people will talk trash. Right? They will say things. They don't even know you, and they'll say things. They'll say things like, "Oh, I slept with your mother last night," or "Your sisters are this," or "With your girlfriend, you da 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 da." We ran whatever. They'll say there's all types of things, and they don't even know you, but you're still getting upset. We still get mad. We still get frustrated. Why do they do that? Because they know if I can get you dysregulated, this part shuts down, and when this part shuts down, guess what? Now I can do whatever I want with you. Now I can throw you off. Now you're angry. Now you're not going to be aware of what we're doing. All the prepping and planning you did beforehand gets thrown out the window. They do that in sports for a specific reason. They call it like psychological warfare, right? So it's the same thing in our relationships. When we become dysregulated, all the skills we've learned go out the window. So it's critical that we have a practice in place, right? And the practice, this is what it does, right? The breathing, I have 3-4-7 breathing to help really learn to kind of relax and calm the body, right? There's progressive muscle relaxation. There's guided meditation or just regular meditation. There's yoga. The whole purpose of all of these things is to do one thing. It's for you to be mindful about what's going on inside your body. It's for you to learn the baseline of what's going on inside your body at all times. It's mindfulness. That's what this is. Right. And it's for you to understand what that baseline is. Because here's the thing: if you don't know what the baseline is of calm for you, of relax is for you, what your normal state is, then how do you know what to regulate back to? We always talk about emotion regulation, emotion regulation, emotion regulation. In us, the whole idea of regulating something is that there is a standard, there's a baseline that we're supposed to be at. How do I know what to regulate back to if I don't know the baseline? If I don't know what it's like, what my body's like when it's calm, if I don't know what it's like when it's peaceful, if I don't know what everything is relaxed, and if I don't know what the baseline is, I don't know what to regulate back to. And that's why you see people have these highs and lows and things like that, because we don't know what the baseline is. The second part of this is as well, if you don't train your nervous system on what signals calm, you're not going to be able to do it in the moment. So if you don't practice breathing and then you try it when you're escalated and your heart rate is 120 beats per minute and you're about to throw something at a wall, it's not going to work. You haven't been trained in that. Your nervous system isn't trained for that. You could take a breath. That's nice. But your nervous system doesn't know what the heck to do with that. Okay, yeah, we took a breath. Great. Now, then punch a hole in the wall, right? I mean, think of it like this. I try to teach my clients this as well. Think of it like this. If you're playing a sport, I can tell you all day about the sport. I can tell you all day about football. Tell you about what it's like to be a defensive line, offensive line, quarterback, wide receiver, running back, whatever. I can tell you about the position. I can teach you about it. And it can all make logical sense in your mind. If I put you out there on the field during game day, you're not going to know what the heck to do. You're not going to know where to go. You're not going to know who to block. You're not going to go where to run. You're not going to know what to catch. Doesn't matter how much you intellectualize it. You must train your nervous system. I repeat, you must train your nervous system. If you do not train your nervous system, none of these things are going to work. They're not going to work. My stuff's not going to work. Other people's stuff's not going to work. Doesn't matter how great they are. Doesn't matter if it's the Gottmans or if it's Dr. Sue Johnson or Jimmy on Relationships or Tony Robbins, or it doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter who it is. If you are not able to regulate your body and know what calm is and bring yourself back to that state, then none of these skills are going to work. You won't be able to undo resentment because immediately you'll be triggered and you'll be right off the deep end. You're not going to be able to not take things personal. You're not going to be able to have compassion, forgiveness. You're not going to be able to have set boundaries. You're not going to be able to operate in excellence. None of this stuff is going to work. So it's critical, critical, critical. You must practice on a daily basis. We're not talking about extensive periods of time. We're talking about anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes max every day, right? Where you're just practicing regulating your nervous system. And the thing is, you could use this in any situation you encounter. If your kid is having a tantrum, if your spouse, is dysregulated in the moment, if things are going crazy at work, if they're stressful on the street, if you're on the phone and it's taking a long time for someone to get back to you, like if you can regulate your body, if you can be mindful and do these practices and take a breath and regulate your body, it allows you to stay in your mind and it allows you to execute on everything we're going to be talking about moving forward. So please, please, please make sure you have some daily practice. And I'll be honest, probably the best one, the two best ones, right? Breathing's great. Don't get me wrong. But probably the 2 or 3 best ones you could actually do are progressive muscle relaxation, because you actually are in tune with every muscle in your body. And what that is essentially, it is when you squeeze, you start at your feet and you work your way up, right? And I recommend having someone guide you through it, like a video or something like that. I have some things on my page. I'm pretty sure you can find it anywhere though. But you essentially, you are squeezing a muscle starting at your feet and you're working your way up. So you'll be your feet, then it'll be your calves, then it'll be your quads, then your glutes and hips, then your abs, and then you just work your way up. Then your chest, then your biceps and your forearms and your hands and your neck, and then your face and all of that, right? And so what this does is it gets you in tune with every part of your body. It makes you mindful. And the beautiful thing about this as well is you're doing breathing as you're doing it, right? Guided meditation, same thing. It allows you to be in tune with your body, in tune with your breathing. They tell you that, they teach you that as you're doing these exercises to make sure you're in tune with your breathing. The whole purpose is for you to be mindful about what's going on in your body. Yoga is a great way to do it as well. And they have all types of different yogas. But for our practices, what we're talking about, I would recommend some type of somatic type yoga where you're really getting in tune with your body, not the power yoga. This isn't about working out or anything like that or getting a good sweat. This is about becoming in tune with your body. They also have yoga practitioners who actually use yoga to help process through trauma as well. So if you're someone that knows you've had trauma in your past, or maybe you think you've had trauma in your past, I would recommend, seeking out someone, a trained practitioner, trained, certified practitioner who does that trauma focused yoga, because they say that helps to kind of, trauma is like trapped in the body, and so it helps to kind of release that, but it also helps to give you control over your body and stay present and grounded in the moment at all times. So that's why this is so important. That's why I just want to take this time and talk about that, and and let you know that you've got to be able to regulate your body. If you cannot regulate your body, you can't do the other things. You cannot do the other things, right? And this is important as well because we do live in a world where, unfortunately, sometimes we deal with people who try to manipulate us. And if you can't regulate your body and they can throw you off, then that's what they can do. They can manipulate you. Like the example I gave you before about football, when they can say all types of things to you, and now what are they going to do? They're going to manipulate you. They're going to draw you off sides. They're going to get you upset. They're going to get yards. And now you're beating yourself up, and now you're in your own head. Oh my gosh, how did I get? And now you're all off. And now they're just beating you and beating you and beating you. They don't even got to put a hand on you. It's the exact same thing in real life, right? Well, I mean, not that that's not real life, but you know what I'm saying? Like in our day-to-day life, it's easier for people to manipulate those who don't have good emotion regulation or regulating their body. They don't know their baseline. So please, please, please take a practice, and use it. Progressive muscle relaxation, breathing, guided meditation. You can do all those at home. And again, it takes no more than 5 to 15 minutes to do these things. And I'm telling you, it will change your life forever. It's not the magic pill that solves all the problems, but what it does is it gives you a good foundation so you can start solving all your problems. Because I'm telling you right now, you do have the ability to do that. You have the ability to solve the issues that you have in your life. We just got to get you the right skills so that you could do that. Now, so with that being said, that's the first part, right? That's step number one, right? As far as like removing resentment, get emotionally regulated, right? We learn to regulate your body so you can regulate your emotions, right? And there's also another part to it that as well, as far as like understanding what you feel and getting some, and that's more of like expanding your emotional vocabulary, right? I think it's important for us to expand emotional vocabulary, but I think it's good to know what anxiety means. Anxiety is just a question your brain's asking: do we have the capacity to handle it? Yes or no? Either yes, we do, and so we're fine, or no, we don't, so we need to prepare. You got depression, which comes from just being overwhelmed, too much on our plate. That's the message that gives us. So and the response to that is that's your brain telling you we got too much on our plate. We need to slow everything down and we need to get things off our plate, get reorganized so we can get back to it again, because we are beyond capacity, right? Think about the terms that come along with depression: burnout, overwhelm. All that means is we're beyond capacity, right? So it means we got to get our capacity back. Of course, just frustration. Frustration means that the thing I'm trying is not working. And so therefore, the answer to that is I got to try something different. Instead of keep trying the same thing over and over again, try a different approach. That's what frustration tells you. Anger, there's been a major violation to one of our beliefs or values, or standards. And now we're mobilizing energy so we can fix that. Doesn't mean we have to become aggressive. It just means, hey, there's been a violation. And it's good to be able to make sure you can feel it, acknowledge it, sort it, and transform, because you might think there's a violation, but it may not necessarily be a violation. Of course, sadness, that's another one. Sadness is loss. You've lost something. And because you lost something, you are now trying to learn how to live all over again. And the loss can be big, the loss can be little, but there's still a loss and there's still a relearning. And so this is one of those emotions you can't just process through right away, because you're literally learning how to do something all over again. That's why sadness can take some time. That's also why sadness and depression get paired up so often. Depression doesn't mean you're sad. Depression means you're overwhelmed. Sad means there's loss. But when there's a loss, that can be overwhelming. You see how that connects? That can be overwhelming and be really weigh on somebody. And so then it takes time to learn all over again. As you do, you get your capacity back. There's also hurt, right? When we're hurt, what does that mean? It means an unmet expectation. We expected something, some type of behavior or some type of something, and that expectation was not met, right? So the response to that is to have a conversation and see if you can get that expectation met and get there more understanding, you know. And if not, then we got to learn about doing it another way, right? So those are some of the emotions, some of the unpleasant emotions that tend to come with when we take things personal. And if you can understand what those are and learn how to respond appropriately, because now we have the foundation, you're going to be good, right? And there's more emotions as well. And we might have to do like a whole nother live stream about the different emotions and what they mean and how to respond to them, but we won't do that now. I just wanted to give you a couple, off the top of my head that tend to come up and tend to be the ones we have to deal with on a more regular basis. Now, not taking things personal. And I don't have a lot of time left because it's coming up and I got to start getting these started a little bit earlier. But I will say this. So here's the key thing when it comes to not taking things personal. Here's the key thing. You have to understand that whatever people do, whatever happens, it's not about us. People's behaviors, their treatment of us, all those things, it's not about us. It's about them, because it's a universal truth. We can't control anybody. The only thing we can control are our actions and how we respond to others. That's it. The things we do and how we respond to what other people do. That's it. And that's the same thing for everybody. And our actions and our responses are not based off of them, but they're based off of our own experiences. I'll tell you a quick story. And this is how this really kind of, one of the things that really helped to stick it for me, right? It actually helped create the whole SIR method as well. But I remember I was at a summer camp, and I won't go into all the detail, but long story, I was at a summer camp, and me and one of the other directors had a problem, right? The way they were coming at me about something, they were saying like, "Oh, I'm overstepping my boundaries and this and this and that and that," and all like accusing me, right? And I don't like being accused, right? And so, it escalated. And it escalated out and about, which is not normal for me, because I'm like, dang, I've only responded to my wife in ways like this. But it did escalate. And so after that whole thing, we got it all resolved. After the whole thing, I started thinking, like, what happened? Like, what happened? And as I analyzed it, it wasn't about her. It was about me, because the same reaction I gave her, the same reaction I gave my wife. So these are two different people who don't know each other at all. Completely different situations altogether, but they both triggered me in a certain way. Or I should say they didn't trigger me, but I was triggered by these situations. And again, they're completely separate. So is it really about them, or is it really about me? Right? Oh, no, it was really about me. It was about something that happened within me. Because guess what? Someone else could be in that situation and handle it completely different. So the point I'm trying to make is that I can't blame her for what she did, just like I can't blame my wife for what I did. I have to own my own behaviors, right? Just like I have to own my own behaviors, so does everybody else. So instead of us taking it personal, no, we don't take it personal. Everyone's responsible for their own behaviors. And then you might stop me and say, Keith, wait, hold on now. But what if they intentionally do something to me? They literally are trying to sabotage me. They're trying to take my kids away. They're trying to take my job. They're trying to take this, or they're trying to do these things to me. It's still not about you. It's still about them. That shows their level of dysfunction. That shows their level of a lack of skills and a lack of regulation. That shows their ignorance. And I'm not saying any of these things in a mean or hurtful way. I'm not trying to say it like that, right? Obviously my goal is not to beat anybody down. I'm just saying, like, those like negative behaviors that are like coming to like hurt you, that speaks to them, what's going on inside them, and from their past and from their history, how they came up, from their perspective and their experiences. That's all from them. That's how they're interpreting. That's how the stories they're making in their own mind. Has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to really do with you, even if it seems like it does. So then it's important for us to learn that, okay, well, shoot, then that means all these other behaviors that happen outside of me, it's not really about me. It's about what things are going on inside of them. Now, I'm not saying go around and just be a jerk. right? I'm not saying that. Well, I can treat people any kind of way, and it's they got to respond the right way. No, I'm not saying that. And if you took that from that, stop. Don't do that, right? No one's saying you can be a jerk. What I am saying, though, is that we're all responsible for our own behaviors and our own reactions. That's what we are responsible for. Everybody is. So it's never about us. It's always about other people, right? It's always about them and what they got going on as far as that's concerned. So don't take it personal, especially if you know the person. Many times you know the person, you know what they've been through, you know what they experienced, you know if they've been traumatized, you know if they don't do any kind of deep work on themselves, you know if they haven't healed, you know who you're dealing with. So since you know who you're dealing with, you know what they experience, you really know it's not about you. You really know it's got to be about what they have going on in their own life. So, or what they've had going on in their own life, and some continuously going on in their own life. So these are critical. This is something critical to understand, because once you stop taking things personal, it's going to take the load off of everything. It's going to make forgiveness easier, compassion. It's going to make so many things so much easier. Boundaries easier, operating excellence easier. It's going to make things so much easier because we're not personalized anymore. We know, okay, that's what you have going on now. And of course, we don't have time to go into it today, but we're going to talk about how to deal with it as this goes on, right? How to eliminate the resentment, how to move if people are doing things that are bothering you, right? We're going to talk about that, right? Because there is a way to do this and keep yourself safe in the process. Because unfortunately, I don't want to put this out there where, oh yeah, just do this. That's why I say you got to do it all together and put it all together, but I don't want anyone to take the first couple of steps and then miss out on the boundary section. And then it allows them to be hurt and beat up, right? Because even though it's not about us, doesn't mean we have to still put up with the same type of treatment and behavior. Right. So let me wrap this up, because I do have to get going, but let me wrap this up. I want to make sure I give you guys some pretty good strategies you could use to not take things personal. Right. And then I'll also give you a resource as well that I think is going to be really, really good for you as well. So first and foremost, always start out regulated. Make sure you are regulated. Your body is regulated. Your breathing's regulated. You are at your baseline. Right. Make sure you start out that way. If you need time to take a breath, because they said something that was kind of inflammatory, take that breath, let it calm down, and then listen to understand. Right? That's the next step. Listen to understand, not respond. I am just taking the information in. I'm trying to see where they're coming from. And then as you take this information in, analyze the information you're getting. Did you actually did they list something objective that you did wrong? Right? Did they list something objective that you did wrong? Did you say the thing that they're saying you said, right? Did you do the thing that they're saying that you did? Don't try to defend it. Don't try to, because nope, don't do that, right? Because I'll be honest, that's what I did at that summer camp, and I shouldn't have done it. That was wrong. I shouldn't have tried to defend it, right? So own it. You know what? That's on me. My fault. I'm sorry about that. Shouldn't have done that. You're right. Hey, I didn't mean to hurt you that way, whatever the case may be. Own that part. Just own it. You don't lose anything. You only gain things from that by owning your own behaviors. Right? So now you listened to understand and not respond. You're analyzing the conversation. You looked at it, and let's just say you didn't do anything wrong. Let's just say they're making up things because of their own perspective, right? And they're running with it, right? They're levying all types of accusations. They're not asking you any questions. They're calling you all kinds of whatever. Well, then now this isn't about me. Oh, this is something they got going on inside of them. That's what this is about. Oh, okay, cool. Well, shoot. I mean, nothing for me to fix on my side. However, if they are coming at you this way, then you don't have to stay in that, engagement, right? You don't have to stay and allow people to berate you, and talk about you any kind of way. You got to and that's where the boundaries start to come in, right? That's where boundaries comes in, But even before we get to the boundaries, right? Forgiveness and compassion. Because the thing is, you also want to make sure, and we'll get into it. I'm just giving you just a real brief and how it ties together, right? So already operating excellence is owning your behavior. Forgiveness and compassion is what allows you to release the offense, because you understand where they're going through, or understand that they could possibly be going through something that causes this type of behavior. And boundaries allows you to be safe as you do these things. All right. And again, we'll go into it. So the next one's going to be about forgiveness. The next one's going to be about forgiveness and compassion, because those two are really, really, really important. Really important. We'll go into what that looks like. We'll go into the fact that we should forgive and how forgiveness is really for us. It's not for the other person. It's to free us. We'll go into all that in the next live stream. And then we'll get into boundaries after that, which is going to be really, really important because we're going to touch on some self-worth things there as well. Because a lot of times we don't have boundaries because we don't know our true worth and our true value. And so therefore, we don't protect ourselves and keep ourselves safe. There's also some cultural things and some things that we've learned growing up that keep us in unsafe situations, under a false premise. But again, we'll get into all that in the next couple of live streams. And yeah, guys, that's it. That's all I got for you for today. So please start regulating your body, start doing those practices. Again, the breathing, the progressive muscle relaxation, the guided meditation, if yoga, some type of yoga where you're getting in touch with your body, get that baseline. I'm telling you, once you get that baseline, it's phenomenal. Once you know what your calm is and you have a way you trained your nervous system that when you just take a breath, all of a sudden it calms down. It's going to keep you in your forebrain. It's going to keep you, being able to be rational. It's going to allow you to listen, to understand. It's going to allow you to know how to navigate any situation you may come into, right? And then again, moving forward, making sure that we're not taking things personal, recognizing, hey, we can only control ourselves just like they can only control themselves. And there's probably something going on in their life or in their experience that's caused them to respond in that way. If I do something, I own it. If I don't, hey, we'll work through the rest of the steps there, right? So do that. Last thing as well, the 4 Agreements. The book, The 4 Agreements, is a phenomenal book. I strongly, strongly recommend you read it. It's really short. If you like audiobooks, it's like 2 hours and change. I read it like twice in one day. Please, please, please read that book. It goes into more detail about not taking things personal. That has all the other things in there as well. Right. Actually, then a lot of those things have to do with, eliminating resentment as well. So I strongly recommend you get that book. Short book, small book if you like to have the physical thing. But yeah, guys. So listen, it's been great. I will be back. Again, sorry about last week. I know I did a long one on Monday and it was like I was MIA the rest of the week. So I apologize about that. But we will be getting the rest of this eliminating resentment in throughout the rest of the week. So you guys can start getting and seeing that change in your life. Right. So if you guys need anything, please reach out. My information's in all the different bios and all that stuff like that and the descriptions and things of that nature. I'm not hard to find. I'll say that. All right. So y'all take care. Have a great, awesome, and blessed day. And as always, never forget and always remember, you are not alone. Take it easy, guys. I'll see y'all soon.